The government has lost track of more than 1,400 children. This is a story that's spreading fast on social media, sparking debate and anger.
It began with a report from the Department of Health and Human Services. It spread after an announcement by Attorney General Jeff Sessions about separating migrant families at the border.
But now there's some confusion about what is actually happening to families at the border and which rules ICE agents are actually following.
10 News reporter Bianca Grollo shows you how some of this is getting mixed up online.
Have you seen this picture or this one? These are making rounds on social media, and they're real, but they're being taken out of context. Some are posting them to say these are children who were separated from their immigrant parents at the border by the Trump administration. But these pictures are from 2014, when there was an influx of unaccompanied minors coming into the U.S. from Central America. That's not to say the current administration isn't separating immigrant children from their parents.
If you are smuggling a child, then we will prosecute you. And that child may be separated from you as required by law.
Numbers from the federal government show some 700 immigrant kids have been separated from their parents since October. And what's adding fuel to people's outrage over this is that the government admitted to losing track of more than 1,400 children last year. But again, those children were mostly minors who came to the U.S. without their parents. Something else you should know about that number is that it came after the federal government tried to follow up with 7,000 immigrant children. They couldn't reach 1,400 of them. And that may be because some of them are with parents who are undocumented themselves and are avoiding contact with authorities. But the uncertainty is still there, and some are wondering, why is the federal government taking children away from their immigrant parents if they've shown to not be able to keep track of them in the past? All of this has led to the creation of the hashtag #WhereAreTheChildren, with protests planned next month. In St. Pete, Bianca Grollo, 10 News.